speaking of getting in shape for your role, Patrick Wilson, you had to fall out of shape to play Night Owl. And like a lot of these guys here, your character has a very interesting relationship with his costume. He needs, he fights crime with it. He needs it to date successfully.
Like these guys, you mean?
I'd love to know, how did you find the character, and what did the costume mean for you in terms of, finding who Night Owl was?
Oh man, the costume was it's pretty awesome, isn't it? I mean, it's yeah, it is. I mean, they did such an incredible job, and that's a whole different topic, I guess, from the changes that David come up with to what ended up in the film. But this guy, it was pretty cool when everybody else had to get all ripped. I could sit back with a carton of Haagen-Dazs and a couple beers and call it a day. It's pretty cool, actually. It's a good gig. But I love Dan. I miss Dan. I really do. It's so weird. We watched just watching that. It's the first time that I'd really seen Dan, because we don't see him in the trailer in front of Dark Knight. So, I don't know. I swear to you, playing him and seeing you always pull for Dan. You do. I just fall in love with the guy when right? And what's so amazing to me, and I'll just say one thing, because he's, he's flabby, he's morose, he's down on his luck, he's lost, he's all these really negative words. And yet, when you look at the first few panels, especially when Rorschach and I go down into the owl chamber, and there's this shot of him saying, you don't think that's a little paranoid? And he's got this sort of smile on his face. I love the fact that that's something you don't get when you either read something based on a book. It's a whole different level when you get to see the artwork. That, for me, that was so informative to watch and it's not like I try to do the same poses, but I swear to you, that helped me so much to see that a guy that could be played so down, Dan's down, but yet he has this light in his eyes. And I love the fact that the artwork and that the drawings that Dave came up with are so informative as an actor, because you see this sense of smile, and in all these shots in the graphic novel that he's smiling, and you see him fighting for it. And that's what I think is something that really keep me into Dan. Is not playing him just like this downer, but he wants it so bad. The relationship that he has with Hollis, trying to figure out how he adjusted to the post superhero life, and how does he deal with that. And you pull for the guy the entire film. And I felt like once you got on board in those first few scenes, it was just like the greatest roller coaster throughout this experience. And so every day that I got in that suit, man, it was just like a gift, because one, you looked like a badass, and you felt like a badass, and you figured, you know what, that's probably what Dan felt like for a guy that was pretty lost. And obviously, as soon as he puts on the suit, not only does he feel like a man, for obvious reasons that we all know in this room, but it gives him an identity. So it was just awesome. It was just awesome.
And now we have the Joker.
I think the book is dark to the point of nihilism. I was wondering how you balanced that out, made it less one-sided.
Why would you do that?
Thank you.
Who wants to talk about that? Anybody? I guess I will. Yeah, the book is dark. I think that we never really thought about the overall, oh gosh, is the movie too dark? Are we going to be plodding down this dark road so far that people, slip their wrists and call it a day, like in the theater? But I think that there is, you have these optimistic characters in the movie that and in the book, that, like Dan, for instance, that is trying to muddle through this, trying to find his way. It is a reflection on all of us, and sometimes those answers, though they, you feel like you've gone to the end of it, and I think in the graphic novel, there's a moral question that gets answered, but then there is no real answer. It becomes up to you. So I think that it's really also about what is darkness, in a movie, what if someone is psychotic or they do something that's morally maybe not what everyone would consider in society correct, is it a metaphor or is it, real? And I think that's the question. I think that's the question. Watchmen is it dark just for the sake, is that titillation? You can say Saw is dark, because people get their arms sawed off, but people get their arms sawed off in our movie too, but for different reasons. For moral reasons, to teach a lesson.
Thank you.
No answer. I rambled. Sorry.
Hello. The text of Watchmen, the story of Watchmen, both the actual words and the artwork are very complex. And there's a lot of different complex themes, both overt and subvert. I was wondering if Zack Snyder could talk about the challenges of adapting all of that into a 3-hour script.
Yeah, that was a challenge. I think the other thing is we also tried there's the supplemental material that's inside the graphic novel, the under the hood stuff, and the superpowers and superpowers, the articles about Adrian, the question and answer, or the question and answer with Adrian, the Sally stuff, all that stuff, which has no images that come along with it, but that I wanted to try and get some of that in the movie as well. So it was already just the pictures alone would get you a 5-hour movie. You're going to try and get some of this other stuff. I think in there you saw Dollar Bill with his cape caught in a revolving door, which I think is a cool. It's an interesting sort of superhero moment. The idea that capes are an issue, which I find really, when you start to talk about superhero mythology and those things, those are moments of importance. And so I think that in the adaptation of the graphic novel to script, we kind of have a basic structure, and it was about, for me, just look, you're going to end up with some stuff that's not in there. It's just the way it is. But I wanted to get at the character. I wanted to get the why Watchmen. So if anything, I think that we had to cut out some bits that were maybe someone might consider more actiony or a little less about the inhabitants of Watchmen and more about the sort of the big pictures. Although there are a lot of big pictures in the movie too. So.
Thank you.
Nice.